In accordance with 940 CMR 29.10 remote participation, adopted by the Greater Lowell Technical School Committee April 17, 2014. Committeeman O'Hare and Committeeman LeMay will be participating at tonight's meeting remotely. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mr. Getchell?
Yes.
Mr. Sheehan?
Yep.
Mr. Bahu? Mr. O'Hare?
Here.
Mr. Tatsias?
Here.
Mr. Gigi?
Here.
Mr. LeMay?
Here.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Yes. Superintendent's report.
Well, so the first item on the agenda this evening is the memorandum of agreement between the Greater Lowell Technical High School Committee and the Greater Lowell Teachers Organization. A copy of that memorandum has been provided to each of you. As an overview of the MOA outlines our transition to hybrid learning and future transitions moving forward to full return, beginning with Phase 1, which we are currently in now. Hybrid Phase 1, which includes 50% of our grade 10 through 12 students attending in person 2 days a week, with implementation of all current and health and safety protocols, which include 4 to 6 feet of physical distancing. Their academics remaining remote, grade 9 students attending in person 1 day each week, and every other Wednesday to receive a hands-on exploratory experience for the exploratories that they were previously offered virtually. It also includes Hybrid Phase 2, which we will be moving to on Monday, March 8th, which is an increase to 100% of grade 10 through 12 students on their shop weeks, which is 4 days a week. Freshmen remain the same, all with the current health and safety protocols, which include 4 to 6 feet distancing. The MOA also includes Buy an X Now and poo testing that will be available to all staff with their consent to participate. Those are the general, that's a general outline of the MOA for return to school. If you have any questions to specific pages or specific items in the MOA, please feel free to ask them now.
Did you say March 8th we're going to be 100%?
Is March 8th Monday?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, on Monday, March 8th, we'll be moving to hybrid mode B Phase 2 with 100% of grade 10 through 12 students on their shop week only. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesday will still be a remote day and their academics will remain remote. So we're moving from 50% of the 10 through 12 grade students, which we're in now in hybrid 1, to 100%. So they'll be coming 4 days instead of 2 days, beginning Monday, March 8th.
I just noticed that the distances, that the hybrid B is 4 to 6 feet.
Yep, so the distances right now are 4 to 6 feet, yes.
Okay, and then at the final it's 3 feet.
So at the final, it's 3 feet or less, correct?
Okay.
I just got one more question on page 5.
Sure.
Actually, probably just a clarification on comp time.
Yep, so that was in their current contract,
Right. The current contract that's 15 or more. Then we dropped it down to. Is it being dropped down to 4 or more in the hybrid? Is that what? I
Yeah,
guess that's
4 or
what.
more in hybrid A, we're not in hybrid A. 7 or more in hybrid B at
Yes.
50% of the classroom, and 15 or more at 100%, which would be hybrid B Phase 2, correct?
Okay, that's what. Okay, so all right, that answers it. Jill, I just want to thank you, Mike, the reopening task force, the teachers.
Yeah, and a
everybody.
big
This
thank
is-
you to the teachers, the e-board of the Greater Lowell Teachers Association for working collaboratively with us, and to all the teachers for their commitment to our students in the school community and wanting to get back to in-person learning for our students. So I appreciate, again, everybody and all that everybody is doing for the greater good of our students.
Completely agree.
So
Right.
I ask
Good work.
for your approval.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Before we begin for the approval, it is my understanding that Committeeman LeMay and Committeeman O'Hare are going to recuse themselves from voting on this MOA. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
Yes, it is.
okay.
I'm gonna recuse myself.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Roll call.
Mr. Getchia?
Yes.
Mr. Sheehan?
Yes.
Mr. Tatsias?
Yes.
Mr. Gigi?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
I have another item.
Yes.
So the next item on the agenda is the approval of revised transportation portion of our reopening plan. On February 11th, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education updated the transportation guidelines, which resulted in change to the bus capacities, allowing two students per bench as long as the current health and safety protocols are continued to be followed. So I am asking for your approval to add these revisions to our current reopening plan in order to implement Hybrid B in those phases moving forward and transition more students back to school. So that would be 2 students per bench with, again, students would have to wear masks. Students would need to sanitize as they go on the bus and exit the bus. They would be currently now in cold weather, 3 windows open up to 1 to 2 inches on the side of the bus to allow for airflow. And with those protocols in place, and we also have put in place a plan for students to board the bus. So students would board the bus and board from the rear of the bus to the front, sitting in one seat. And then once all the single seats were filled, if we needed to double up, then they would double up from the front of the bus to the back of the bus. There may be instances on some buses that students sitting side by side on a bench is not necessary. And by boarding in this format, it would help us to avoid that if we had to. But Desi is saying that as long as we continue to follow the health and protocols, it's safe for students to sit side by side on a bus bench. So I'm asking for your approval to amend our current reopening plan transportation section to add these new recommendations.
Motion to approve.
I had a question, Madam Superintendent.
Yes.
These protocols, will they work together with the administration of the school as well as the bus company, or was this all the bus company doing?
No, this was the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, which amended their original guidelines, which said that students had to sit on every other bench and students could no longer sit side by side. But since then, on February 11th, the department, in consultation with medical providers, updated their guidance to permit students to sit side by side on a bench as long as health and safety protocols are being followed. Again, as I said, masks, windows being open for airflow, hand sanitation.
So then these approvals, these protocols meet your approval. I guess that's what I should have said.
Yes, they do. Yes.
Okay, good.
I'll second it.
Yeah, who's gonna enforce the kids following rear to front, front to rear?
So working with the bus company, we've established this protocol, and currently, right now, they're using the protocol as they board the bus. So they're used to the boarding on the back of the bus and then moving frontwards. And then we're going to have them add moving frontwards to the back of the bus to add the second seat. So in cooperation with the bus company and the bus providers, and there's cameras on buses, so we will be able to monitor and be in communication with the bus company if the protocols aren't being followed.
Okay, and then the sanitation by the students
So this has been happening currently, it's been
Okay.
happening since the beginning of the school year. The health and safety protocols are not changing.
Great.
You'll have some type of a steel rate,
The stairway.
you know, on the back of the bus.
No, what they do is they enter
No.
from the door.
No,
and
they're
go
gonna
to-
enter through the front, and they board
Oh,
through
to
the
the
front
left and
door
go to
and
the
start
left.
with the
And then
back
they
of the
work
bus.
Towards
They
the front
start
of
with
the
the back of the bus to the front of the bus,
okay.
and then once every single seat is filled, then they'll board double seats from the front to the back.
Makes sense.
Roll call.
Mr. Getchia?
Madam Superintendent, I was wondering are there any different protocols to someone that's disabled or wheelchair or some of those issues?
So students with disabilities that require special transportation are on special buses. And,
Okay,
and
thank you.
currently, the protocols for those buses have not changed.
Okay, those are the vans that are in question?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Roll call.
Mr. Getchia?
Yes.
Mr. Sheehan?
Yes.
Mr. Ogia?
Yes.
Mr. Tatsias?
Yes.
Mr. Gigi?
Yes.
Mr. Lemay?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Getchia?
Second.
Yes.
Mr. Sheehan?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu? Mr. Ogia?
Yes.
Mr. Tatsias?
Yes.
Mr. Gigi?
Yes.
Mr. Lemay?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes. Thanks, everybody.
Good job,
Thank you.
everybody.